Good morning. Good morning here from London. The birds still feeding on the bird feeder. Good morning to all of you from all around the world in all sorts of weathers. So wherever you are, however you are, we welcome ourselves, we welcome each other. Settling into your own space and feeling into this shared space. So, as usual, make time for both of those. Making time to really sense your body, your presence, this space here, once you've introduced yourself and said hi in the chat. And making time to widen your attention to feel this shared space. So you really place yourself, you place your attention here in your body, and it's like we each place ourselves in this shared field beyond space and time, which of course is the field of love. The field of love is a field beyond space and time, beyond right and wrong, as Rumi said. And so feeling the preciousness of our practice together as we continue to arrive ever more deeply into our bodies. So we continue to aspire to opening our minds to what we don't already know, softening around what we believe, to make room for something new to be planted. As we continue to soften the heart, soften and open the heart. And to support these aspirations in our meditations this week, we've been getting to know the way love feels in the body, in a very direct and tangible way, as it radiates from the heart with luminous warmth, as it embraces pain with tenderness, and as it expands with delight. And as it just widens with spaciousness. In all these expressions, luminous warmth, tenderness, delight, and spaciousness, always flowing into and between each other in response to whatever is arising in this moment. So today we'll be exploring the ways in which these different flavors of love flow within and also outside and between, within ourselves and also outside ourselves and between each other. Love flows between giving love, receiving love, and simply being love. I've heard some Christian contemplatives describe these movements of giving, receiving, and being to be the essence of the Trinity, which I find really beautiful. There's a Franciscan sister called Ayala, who beautifully describes this flow of the Trinity as an ongoing exchange between the lover the beloved, and the breath of love. The lover, the beloved, and the breath of love. Love gives, love receives, and love simply is. And it's a perspective which fits the relational understanding of the Dharma, the foundational understanding that everything is influencing and being influenced by everything else. And it's also a perspective which fits the foundational experience of a deepening meditation practice, the experience of the fundamental goodness of the universe. So there's this possibility within these shared perspectives that this great mystery, the mystery of the universe, itself is love, manifesting in every star, every planet, every plant and animal, in order to express this relational dance between lover, beloved, and the breath of love, between giving love, receiving love, and being love, which we might also experience ourselves between loving another, whether that's another human, an animal, a plant, the earth, the ocean, the mountain, between loving another, between being loved by another, and being love itself in infinitely playful and creative forms. So love flows in all its different flavors, between giving, receiving, and simply being. The lover, the beloved, and the breath of love. And yet, just as we've been exploring during the week with paying attention to the ways in which we contract around the natural flavors of love. Similarly, in our state of contraction, which really is just a state of forgetfulness. So in our state of forgetfulness, we contract around the naturalness of love's flow as well. Just really in the very moment that we believe we're separate from love, we will also inevitably believe that its flow is conditional and limited, something scarce, and that we need to strive to receive. We believe we'll only receive love if certain conditions are in place. And then, of course, we believe we should only give love if certain conditions are fulfilled. So basically, we believe love isn't already here, but it's somewhere out there to be fought for, acquired, and then guarded. So today, we're going to familiarize ourselves with the ways in which love flows, to start to feel that in our body, to feel how it feels when we give love, to feel how it feels when we receive love, to feel how it feels to be love. And with that, of course, there's going to be a noticing where we contract, a noticing where we find it hard to feel in any of those directions of giving, receiving, or being. And there's always the invitation, whenever we notice the contraction, to unhook from the story I'm so bad at this, I'm whatever, I don't like this. To unhook from the story and to come into the body, to find the place of contraction in the body, to breathe into it and to witness love's tenderness as it flows and embraces those places of contraction. And similarly, noticing where we sense a more easeful participation with one of these directions of giving, receiving, and being, to unhook from any story that comes up, to come into the body, to stay in the body, and to recognize love's delight, how it feels. We've also been exploring over the week how our breathing can actually support this embodied experience of inhabiting and embodying love's flavors. And it's the same. Our breathing is a great teacher for, in a very simple and immediate way, for love's flow as well. Just in a very simple and immediate way, our inhalations teach us about receiving love. The act of inhaling is an act of receiving love. Remember, we've been exploring how we don't take a breath, we create space inside our body to receive the breath. And the inhalation that we receive is the outbreath of countless creatures, of countless beings. It's the outbreath of this earth, of trees, of animals, of humans, the outbreath of the ocean, the outbreath of the mountains. It's a co-creation that we create together, which in a sense is an offering of love. And so in that same way, our own exhalations teach us about giving love. When we breathe out, we offer back into this co-creation. And our out-breath becomes the inhalations of trees and plants. Carbon dioxide we breathe out is absorbed in. And as some of you might have experienced yesterday, when we sensed into the pauses in between each breath, that sense of widening into the spaciousness and the pause in between our breaths. These pauses can be a teacher, can teach us about being love, about that stillness outside of the doing, of receiving or giving, just the witnessing of beingness and how that feels. So maybe just feel it right now in this simple act of breathing, how we receive, we give, and we simply are. So in our breathing exercise today, we'll build on the exercises during the week where we lengthen the exhalations and we lengthen the inhalations and we widened the pause in between the breaths. We'll build on that to I think what we'll try and do is an exercise which is sometimes called square breathing, where we just put all those elements together, not too long, not too extended, no force, to try and bring more of an even spacing and even counting and even beats to breathing in, pausing, breathing out, pausing. Which is very, very soothing to the nervous system. And with the invitation, once you get the rhythm, to also feel into each of these stages, to feel into the receiving, the giving, and the simply being. A reminder as well that our breathing happens through the breathing muscles, which is the lower belly, the back muscles, the rib muscles, the muscles in between the ribs, so the chest muscles, in other words, and the diaphragm muscles. There's no gripping in the throat, there's no tensing in the face or the shoulders. It's very different to the way that, if we went out on the street and have somebody hold their breath, they'd do. Instead, we just breathe and we pause the breathing muscles exactly where they are. So we make the space and then we just hold the body in that sense of expanded space. That's all. There's no holding of the breath anywhere. And similarly, when we breathe out, when there's an extended breathing out, we've drawn back, we've engaged the lower belly a little bit more. We just pause there. So we hold the body with this reduced space, very, very softly. So I'll guide you through this when we practice together, and as with each day, as the reminder that if the any of these breathing exercises feel unhelpful or there's a sense of tension, just let it go. Just let it go. Be with very soft, natural belly breathing, or even taking your attention somewhere else. If any attention to your breathing creates more tension, stay with sound. Stay with what works for you. Everything is participant in this flow of the lover, the beloved, and the breath of life, the breath of love. So friends, establish whatever is your most supportive position for your practice in this moment. Whether seated or lying down, find a posture that is grounded, where your spine can be long, where your base is broad, your base being wherever you're in contact with the ground. Where your chest is also broad and open in all directions, front, back, and sides. Where your face, shoulders, jaw are relaxed. So if it helps you, you can squeeze and stretch the skin and muscles of the face, reach out the tongue. Make any stretches or movements in the body to help release tension. Sigh out through the mouth, make a horse breath, which is through pursed lips. Making any micro movements in the body that help you release or activate, or wake up the breathing muscles. Yawning helps. When you're ready, keeping a long spine, begin to pay attention to a lengthened out-breath, as if breathing from the brain down through the body, down to the lower belly. Feeling at the end of the exhale, the lower belly muscles slightly engage, keeping the spine very long. And allowing a slight pause at the end of that exhale. before you relax the abdomen and softly allow normal breathing to return. You can repeat that again if you like. Slightly longer exhale. Slightly lengthen pause at the end of the exhale. Then releasing the abdomen to allow the inhalation to come in however it wants. And normal breathing. And as we repeat one more time, this time really feeling the way in which you are giving the out-breath back out to the world. And the stillness at the pause at the end of the out-breath. And relaxing when you're ready to normal breathing. With a long spine, taking your attention to the inhalation. Breathing out first so you feel some engagement of the lower belly, so that the inhalation feels like it begins from the lower belly and then widens as if you're breathing horizontally into the chest, widening the diaphragm, not too deep, and then just holding the muscles wide like this for a few beats of a pause. Before you gently relax, slowly relax those breathing muscles of the chest and take a few normal breaths. And repeating if it works for you, if it feels good. Breathing out first so that you can then draw up from the lower belly and widen through the chest. Pausing for a few beats as you just hold those wide chest muscles. Before slowly releasing and taking some normal breaths. And then this time, if you'd like to just continue for a few cycles of the inhale with the pause, the exhale with a pause, placing them all together in roughly equal counts. So if you find yourself breathing in to a count of about 3 or 4, then see if you can have it roughly similar. So I'll talk you through it maybe one time, but feel free also just to go at your own pace. It's beginning with an exhale. And then that slow, soft inhale, widening into the chest. Holding that pause before slowly releasing, engaging the lower belly and holding the pause for a few counts there. And either returning to normal breathing or continuing yourself at your own rhythm. Receiving the breath. offering the breath back and widening into that space of being in the pauses in between. And so if you haven't already returned to normal breathing after your next exhalation, just let the body settle back into normal, soft breathing. Placing your attention now in your heart space. And if you like, bring to mind anything that you find it easy to offer love or care towards. It might be another person, it might be an animal, it might be a plant, it might be a place in nature or even in your home. It could also be a deity, a teacher, a guru. And placing this being as if in front of you. Just very simply offering love, offering care. If love to you is a triggering word, just feel a very simple sentiment of care. And even as you're offering love outwards to something else, keep perhaps 2/3 of your attention here in your body. So that you feel how it feels to give love. The beloved is in front of you, but you experience yourself as the lover. Experience how it feels in the heart, how it feels in the body to offer love, to offer care. This doesn't need to be easy for you. There's no narrative needed around being good or bad at this. This is a practice. The free flow of love and giving is already here, intrinsically in the universe, but as with all things, we've understandably learnt to contract around it. So very gently, allowing ourselves to trust in the naturalness of offering love and how it feels in this heart. As you continue to sense this flow of love, whether easy or difficult, whether pleasant or unpleasant, as you continue to sense this flow of love outwards from your heart, invite its flow to reach into this shared field that we create together, this shared field of Sangha. Offering love now to each and every person through space and time. Even when you are joining this field from another time, through the recording, you are entering the same field. Wherever you are in the world, you're entering the same field. So offering across to the people you know here and the people you don't know. And as you feel yourself breathing in now, recognize that as one of the people in this shared field, you are also simultaneously in this moment receiving love. Even now, as you're giving it into this shared field of our Sangha, you're also receiving it from many, many others. So I invite you to turn your attention now to this space of receiving, to the experience of receiving love, of breathing it in, even as you continue to offer it out with each out-breath. Again, it may be easy for you, it may be difficult. That's okay. Love's tenderness will flow into those places that feel contracted and rest beside it, soften around it, breathe into it. This is a practice. Know that whether or not you find it easy to receive, You are, regardless, being offered love. Love is flowing towards you and into you, whether or not you find it easy to receive. I invite you now to offer love towards yourself and to simultaneously receive it. Offering with each out-breath and breathing it in with each in-breath. Whether easy or difficult, we practice. We practice simply participating in the flow that's already effortlessly arising. Simply participating in love's flow. Nothing is being created. We're simply relaxing and releasing the obstacles we've placed in the way. And you might begin to sense or have moments of sensing. Simply being love. The love that you are. unique way love's ocean rises up in this wave. Connected through the ocean to all other waves as they rise and dissolve. A wave which expresses itself in the endless creative flow of the oceans, giving, receiving, and simply being. Just like this breath, right now, right here. Just as we breathe in and breathe out, the soft pauses in between. Through the moments of our day. Just like that, love effortlessly flows between giving, receiving, and simply being through the moments of our day. This poem is called "This Was Just Another Day." This was just another day, the duckling busy drinking in life, swimming by my side, my hands parting pollen on folds of mirrored water. This was just another day, my bike dismantled on the road, two men sprinting away from parts no longer promising exchange for a score. This was just another day, the kindness of strangers picking up pieces, the man in the bike shop fixing for free, eyes sparkling, I love what I do. This was just another day with an old man so broken, lost deep within and far away inside his own sadness, laughing together, lives interwoven. This was just another day. In my children's arms, soft bodies, huge dreams, unanswerable questions from journeys that can only be theirs. This was just another day for a heart broken open so many times it can no longer remember how it felt to be closed. Thank you, friends, once again, for your practice, for your presence, for showing up for yourself and for each other and for the world, for love. Thank you for this opportunity to share with you during the week. I always learn so much just from the invitation to reflect deeply like this with you. So I really appreciate it, and I appreciate the very palpable flow of love that I feel in this community and I receive from you. Thank you for your messages. I'm happy to read the poem again if there aren't any questions, but if there are questions, this is a time for questions. And a reminder, particularly today, is the last day of the week of daily meditations. This would be the day for you to offer your dana if you would like me to receive it through Sangha Live, because part of the dana you offer to Sangha Live is shared with whoever is the active teacher at that time. So your offerings for the week of daily meditations would be so gratefully received any time till the end of the day today. For those of you who are joining through recording at a different time from this week, please still do support Sangha Live. They rely on your support. And if you would like to support me with dana at a different time, you can find my PayPal link on my website, or you can email me for bank details. So much appreciated. Thank you all so much for your love and for your support. So there's a question from Deborah. Just what is the poem? I wrote the poem and I will share it with George, who links it, shares the link at the end of the day, on which you'll be able to find on Sangha Live library in the daily meditations. A question from Elena. Any suggestions on helping receive love? For me, that was the most difficult part. Yeah, part of the practice was to begin to notice which, and perhaps all of them, but if there was a particular direction of flow that felt most difficult for us. For many people, it's receiving love that we find difficult. So returning to the practice of love's tenderness is very helpful for this. And if what you found was that when we practice receiving, you might well have found there was some sort of contraction in the body. There's a way in which, as I said, love flows regardless. So we have to create an obstacle. There's a way in which something might have hardened, or you might have just felt like a wall or a numbness, or just, however that obstacle would have been manifested for you. And then that's the place to then bring your attention, your loving attention. Even numbness is an experience in the body. Even a sense of disconnect is an experience in the body. So that's where we turn the flow of love's tenderness, which is the words I've been given this week to compassion. It's where we turn our attention. We turn our attention to wherever in the body we feel a sense of contraction, collapse, lack of connection, dissociation, numbness. So find the feeling of that. Ironically, even numbness, as I said, has a feeling. And stay with that. Rest beside it. Breathe into it. Be patient. Be loving towards the places within us that feel unlovable. And listen to them. Often they're parts of us, young parts of us. They'll have some sort of story that, I don't trust you. I don't trust that this receiving love is safe. I don't trust that I'm lovable. And so we don't try and fix, we don't try and even persuade, we literally rest beside those parts with breathing love into and through them regardless. And slowly, slowly, it's like a reparenting of the parts of ourselves. Slowly, these parts come to trust that, you're not abandoning me this time. Maybe it's safe in this moment to have a little bit of a softness and an opening to receive the love that's here. And so it widens in that way, if that makes sense. It widens into the ever-growing field of what is possible for us to receive. And the beauty of that is the more we allow ourselves to receive, the less conditional our giving is. Often we find it easier to give, but it will be from a place, if we find it's hard to receive, it might be from a place that is saying, I'm only worthy if I give. I'm only lovable if I give. And then there are all sorts of other entanglements around that. When you give, but the other person doesn't seem to appreciate it, that wound of unlovable is even more painful. And, we might withdraw, or we might try harder. And so we're learning to relax into the naturalness of love's flow, which as I said, is already here. Just relaxing around the obstacles we place, the conditions we place on the naturalness of love's flow, and giving, receiving, and simply being. It's all already here. It's already done. Nothing to do, just an undoing. I hope that helps, Elena. There's a question from Ruth Bigger. I feel I can give love easily, receiving less so. I have had to put boundaries. Sorry, your question keeps moving. I've had to put boundaries in at times as I can overgive. How do love and boundaries go together? I hope, Ruth, that perhaps let me know if some of what I've just answered with Eleanor's questions might have helped that the boundaries, when we feel we need to put boundaries in place, that, as you described, is often because we find it easier to give and harder to receive, which means that unconsciously we've placed conditions on our giving, which means, in other words, that we feel it's incredibly painful if we give and we feel that our giving isn't reciprocated, because it's in some way we're giving in order to receive because we find it so hard to receive. And so the boundaries are only needed when in that container of conditionality. So the place perhaps to pay attention to more is in the receiving. Previous answer was very helpful. Good. And to be part of that flow. Yeah. So I'm glad you've recognized that there's a similar pattern there. Thank you, Ruth. So a question from Jonathan. I felt a terror come up in my solar plexus, which may be past childhood complex trauma, triggered by an unpleasant present situation that feels so unfair. Did the Buddha speak to how to deal with this kind of suffering, which may perhaps be due to CPTSD? How can love be revealed and support when terror and fear and maybe hidden anger seems to dominate within for an extended period and block any sense of flow? So Jonathan, I'm hoping that you see as well some connections to my answer to the previous questions in terms of the relationship between love's flow and love's flavors and what comes up in our experience. Love is an entirely flexible and responsive to whatever is arising in this moment. So whatever is most needed is what comes forward, is whatever I'll say whatever most needs love, let's say, is what comes forward in this moment. When we practice, we play with things. We play with bringing our attention here or exploring this movement or this expression. We were practicing exploring how it feels to participate in love's flow of giving or receiving or simply being. But if what comes up for you is the terror that, as you said, is most likely to be coming from previous trauma and triggered by current circumstances, that terror is what is calling your attention. That terror is what is calling your loving presence to turn towards. And I would say, and that would certainly be in line with the Dharma teachings, to release the stories, to unhook from the stories, unless they're helpful to either bring forward the feelings that have been blocked or to give a bit of perspective around them so that we're able to be with those feelings more fully. And then to come into the body and feel where what you're calling terror shows up in the body as this alarm, this fight, flight, freeze response, this adrenalized response, this places of gripping, of tension. To breathe in the ways that we've been, maybe on the first day in particular, I spoke about breathing, exhaling to regulate the system back into one of rest and receive, so that we're able to be with this terror, to breathe into it and sit beside that with love's tenderness. The adaptability and flexibility of love's response is always available to be with what's needed. And when there's been previous response, we really need support in that process, because most likely we're going to be triggered into trauma again. And trauma means being triggered into a response where we lose ourself inside it. What we're learning to do here is to find a steady anchor to love, to loving presence here in the body, so that we can meet whatever was once traumatic with love. But when there's been trauma, we often need another person as well as our own practice to hold us in that steady presence. So I really invite you to find that support and to continue with the support of another, to also use your practice as your internal support and anchor, to continue to turn towards and reparent these places within us that have become frozen. So friends, time is up. I will read your reflections and really appreciate them. If there are questions that I haven't managed to respond to today, then please either email them to me at ayalagill@gmail.com, or you can find my email also on my website, ayalagill.com. And any unanswered questions, I'll also respond to, George will post on the Sangha Live Connect. So thank you so much for being together this week. It's been a beautiful experience for me, and I hope to see you. I have various offerings. Most of them involve yoga as well, so that we're ever more embodied in our experience and embodiment of the Dharma. You can find them on my website, ayalagill.com, and I'm also going to be back here on Sangha Live in November, I think. And I'm teaching a retreat, a silent retreat at the Moulin de Chave, Martin's Retreat Centre, in end of September, beginning of October. There are a few spaces left. So much love, so much gratitude, and I look forward to our paths crossing again soon. Thank you.